your like in the last rally? Car feel okay?
Yes, at this stage the car feels fine, so hopefully it stays like that.
Gonna be nice to me. Well, the first time in your life you're leading a national championship rally.
I know. Are we on the camera now? Is it rolling?
Yes.
Well, better you start again, I suppose. I mean, it's going to a bit much. Sorry, but you better start again. Yeah.
Are you enjoying leading the rally?
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, suddenly it's fantastic. I mean, I never expected it, and we're there. The next thing we're there, and it's lovely to be in front of all these Volkswagen drivers. You know, I have a great friend, Enzo. It's fantastic to be in front of him, the winner of the Sassel. You know, it feels very good. We go out for lunch when we got home again, and then we'll have a big problem.
You must be worrying that Spain might call you up for the war against Morocco. Enzo, you've been going all day, but nothing has happened except handbrake turns.
Yeah, we've been busy a day. We've only done 12K, so I think halfway through the first stage, we would have the rally would have started. The first gravel stage now. It's a 29K stage, and the tyre gamble is on again because, you know, do we go on wets and they're quite prone to punctures, or do we go on a semi-wet tyre but they'll be slow? I think it'll be interesting at the end of that stage. You should be there.
It's got to be a brave man that goes into Longmore at night without wet tyres.
Yeah, no, only the bravest would. But it's a gamble to take. You know, on the stage after that, it's 40 kilometers. Now, a flat tyre would cost you 3 minutes, and you could even have a second flat. So those are the odds we're weighing up at the moment.
By that time, it was already dark. That, plus the soggy route, would soon dish up a few surprises, and Enzo was about to launch his attack. Unfortunately for Toyota, any chance of Damso scoring a victory ground to a halt in this stage. A minor overshoot turned into a major calamity when Serge chose a shortcut to get back on the route and promptly buried the Corolla in a grass-obscured ditch. Behind him, Habich was giving it stick, attacking the Toyota in an effort to gain the overnight lead. The sight of Serge's Corolla stuck on the side of the road would have pleased the South African champion, but there would be no letting up. Kuhn was on a charge and would set a time 14 seconds faster than Habich to leapfrog to the front. Also storming along in the evening gloom was Fecken's A7 Polo Player. By comparison, the warble of the Berger Swanepoel Class N4 Subaru was something of an anticlimax. As for Lawrence, he overcame the earlier mishap and seemed relieved to be back in real rally country. The surfer's paradise of Jeffreys Bay was the backdrop for perhaps the most crowded spectator stage of all, with Enzo delivering a commanding performance in front of an appreciative public. Although still second on the road, Damso's mishap had pushed him far down the field in actual terms and effectively out of contention. Habich, on the other hand, now knew that the race was on and wasn't going to let up for an instant. Always mercurial in Gymkhana-style stages, Fecken didn't disappoint his fans. Africa Rally champion Schalk Burger was playing a more tactical game and had tapped off somewhat. And flying the team total flag, the Corolla of Lawrence was also going great guns. Despite having both Fecken and Lawrence ahead of him, Van der Walt appeared content to bide his time on the tar. The Lancer of Rueda may look like a tame beast, but Fernando set the fastest time in the Jeffreys stage. now, JP Damso seemed to be very much in control of the Class A6 show. Veteran rallyist Leon Buerter made his comeback in a Subaru Impreza at the beginning of the season and has already re-established his competitiveness. But in Jeffries, a slight judgment error saw the Impreza on the pavement after hitting a palm tree. Fortunately, the accident damage was minor. Dean Sanders was still calling the tune, although arch rival Richard Bem was staying in close attendance. It wasn't a good night for the Damso family. On the 44-kilometre monster closing stage of the first day, JP seemed to clip a bank on the right and then go plunging off an embankment on the left. By the time they'd freed the Corolla, more than 40 minutes had elapsed, and they were subsequently time-barred. As the crews headed back to PE for a well-deserved sleep, it was Kuhn who led the field by more than 2 minutes after a clean run, while a flat tyre dropped Habich to 5th. Rueda, Fecken and Lawrence made up the top 5 balance. In 6th and 7th, Berger and Van der Walt were still in touch with the front group. Buerter, Coleman and Christopher Shane Saville filled the minor placings. Day 2 of the 2002 Volkswagen Rally, and in many ways this event has only just started after a lot of tar stages early on day 1. The action in the forests last night changed a lot of things, and Cyril, at the moment, the man of the moment, of course, Enzo Key.
A bit more mud than you expect when you're off the road and everybody's back in the rally again. So I think it's going to take a lot of concentration on his side to keep the lead and just stay where he is. And the others have got it all to do to make up. Serge right from the back, and Habich's got to make up some time to stay in the championship. He's in, 5th place or something. So, yes, I think there's going to be a lot of action at the back.
Any hope of warmer weather was dashed by a morning that got greyer and colder. With more than 2 minutes in hand, Enzo knew that it would be all but impossible for Habich to catch him. Still, with conditions treacherous, there was every reason to keep up a pace just in case something went wrong. If the previous night, Stage 8 had claimed its share of victims, then Stage 9 continued the trend. Rueda, in 2nd place overnight, had to see that position revoked by a left front puncture, costing him almost 2 minutes while handing 2nd place to Habich. Trailing Fecken by only 12 seconds at the start of day 2, Team Total's Lawrence could taste a Class A7 victory and was going all out to catch the Volkswagen. Then drama. The Sasol Polo was parked on the stage as the hapless Fecken and Lefkowitz struggled to swap a flat tyre. Lawrence was now leading the class. The hottest pace on day 2 was being set by Habich. His flat on the long Stage 8 the night before had virtually put him out of contention, but the wily Volkswagen ace kept the pressure on, hoping for a miracle. He would set the fastest time here. With a fresh wheel bolted on, Fecken raced hard to make up lost time, although he must have realized that the odds on him taking the class had now lengthened considerably. The Berger Swanepoel Subaru was another victim of Stage 9, as yet another left front puncture cost the Middelburg businessman valuable time. Behind the struggling Subaru, Damso's Castrol Toyota Corolla was rapidly closing. Even four-wheel drive cars struggle in the slippery stuff, especially with a puncture. Although far down the field after the previous days off, Surge was still giving it stick as he closed on Berger. The rally was not going well for Van der Walt and Burrows. A flat on the last long stage 8 saw the Class A7 crew lose 2 minutes to Fecken and Lawrence. Their woes continued on day 2 with another flat hamstringing their chase and dropping them another 1.5 minutes behind Lawrence. Stage 9 was turning into something of a killer. Coleman and Koch's privateer Sasol polo player was also battling with a wayward right front wheel, costing them more than 3 minutes. Behind Coleman, Buerta and Van Vuren were catching up fast, their all-wheel drive Subaru reveling in the wet and muddy conditions. Christovitz and Shane Saville's A6 Toyota Conquest had briefly led the class after JP Damsu's demise in stage 8, but a sick engine spelt the end of their rally after another promising performance. At the Longmore Forest service point, mud seemed to be enemy number 1.